Hey, what's up guys? It's Andy back with Level 1 News, and today I'm going to be reviewing Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is literally Destiny 2. It's the same game pretty much, just with some new add-ons and a couple different things added in and a couple things that are missing from the original. But it's still a pretty solid first-person shooter with that MMO style loot grind that everyone got accustomed to with the first Destiny. It still has the amazing graphics that Destiny 1 brought us and a phenomenal soundtrack that ties in. You know, Bungie has done some great work since their Halo days, and you could definitely see it paying off still even today with Destiny 2, with the soundtrack and the graphics and everything. The campaign was a pretty solid story with some epic moments. At times, it did feel like I was just being guided through the story though until I got to level 20, which is the max level. And it just felt a little like I just wanted to rush through it at times, you know? The way that you had to wait till level 20 to get the Sparrow and certain things like that. It just seemed like I was trying to push through it so that I could start my grind and get that good gear and level up my light level, which is now power level in Destiny 2. It basically just introduced the new setup, and right off the bat, like in seconds, you're introduced to like the new bad guy, Dominus Gaul, which is a Cabal, and it did add like a lot of substance to the story, the way you're thrust in there. And you see all these characters from the original, you know, just fighting to survive. And so the story was a good story, but like I said, at times I just felt like I just wanted to get through with it so that I could, you know, start working on that power level. But there were a lot of side missions and public events available during the campaign, so you're never truly behind, and every time you get to a mission, I was well ahead of whatever power level it said I should be in order to start that mission. So early on, you don't really need to grind at all. You just, like I said, this campaign just really helped guide you along and allowed you to get to that level 20. And during the campaign this time around, you got early access to some exotics. Like, you got exotics during the actual campaign, which was sort of a nice touch, but it also made it clear that it wasn't going to be as hard to farm these exotics as it was in Destiny 1, and it actually isn't. Strikes are back, and midway through campaign, you unlock the ability to go on strikes, and they do, like, that's another way to level up early on. The strikes do help you out, and they were pretty solid strikes. There's like about 5 of them, and it did help you know, get me towards the max level and help me get finished through the campaign quickly. But after a while, they sort of become pointless there because, you know, it's a lot of work and there isn't enough reward really. Not like in the original Destiny 1, where I found myself stacking strikes and, you know, using the coins later on that I bought from Xur to keep stacking those strikes up and farm exotics. Now it's not the same, so you don't really do the strikes as much anymore. It's a lot easier to do public events and things like that are back from Destiny 1. Public events is a big part, and it's a lot easier to do public events than it is to do strikes. But with strikes coming back, we also have back the Nightfall strikes, which is also a really great addition, a really solid addition to strikes, because, you know, it gives the strikes a lot more replay value. It takes a lot more strategy because it's difficult and you have that time limit. You know, you need to focus and get with a really solid team together in order to finish them, but they're not that difficult. You know, they're not too hard. They're pretty easy. You could definitely jump in with a little bit less experienced players and still complete a solid strike. But it does add what I like. It added like different goals in order to increase the countdown on the clock, so you're not just speed running. Like, I remember in Destiny 1, people would start the strike, get on a sparrow, and like try as quick as possible just to get to like from point A to point B, and just end the strike as fast as possible so that they could keep stacking and get into the next strike and just do it again. And in this one, it's not as much like that because you have that time limit, but you also have ways to keep increasing, and that's pretty cool. They also added the Leviathan raid finally recently, and the first raids are, first of all, like breathtaking. Like, it's a really good graphics, and the ship looks absolutely amazing where it takes place, and it looks phenomenal. But it is incredibly challenging and really time consuming. Like, you have to have a decent team and you have to work together. It's very puzzle orientated, so you really have to go through these puzzles. But once you beat it like the first or second time, you have them down pat and you know what to do. But at times it just feels like you're just surviving waves of Cabal. Like you're just there trying to survive. Even though the reward is some powerful armor and some powerful gear, I could easily go on to like public events and farm some gear, some pretty strong gear that way, and it's a lot faster and easier. But it does have some replay value because they do give you these keys to these chests that are hidden without the ship, and you can come back and unlock those chests later on, which does add a little more replay value. And you do need a team of 6, but Destiny fortunately has just added the guided games beta, which does help you find people if you're short one person. And that's one issue that I did have with Destiny, actually, is that it's super co-op oriented, and you can see that by the addition of the whole clan system that they added. They want you to play with other people, even in Crucible, which I'll get into next. But one thing that was just so dumb is that the strikes, like, you need a team of 3, obviously. For Crucible, you need like teams of 4 minimum, and then for the Leviathan raid, you need a team of 6. So if we're playing together, like to gather teams, and you're not doing much jumping, like we can't do like, let's do a Nightfall strike, and then let's do Trials of the Nine, and then let's do this, because you need different amounts of people to do each thing, which I thought was kind of dumb, because you're always, if you want to do something else, you either have to drop one member of your party, or you have to try and find someone else to pick up, which is a little bit dumb. But that's just one thing that I thought was kind of dumb. But they did add that new guided games, like the whole new beta system where you can find someone else out there. Like for Leviathan in particular, if you have a team of 5, you do need a mic in order to use it. It doesn't let you pick someone up unless they have a mic, and you can find someone who hasn't done it before, and you make a new friend, or you help someone out who hasn't done it before. So that's pretty cool that they added that. Crucible, which is back, is so fun. It's still amazing. I did feel like at times I would play Crucible matches and I wouldn't unlock enough stuff. Like, I felt like the gear I was getting was terrible. But then there are times where I was playing and I was getting like legendary engrams like back to back. So I guess it sort of evens out within itself. But Destiny 2's Crucible is still so much fun. It is still like a super huge like first person shooter multiplayer game, because there's not a lot of close combat even with the supers. Like, I think they could fix that if they shorten the time it takes for you to get your super. They could fix that a little bit, but it does take like a little bit out of what the multiplayer could be, because you're still mostly just like shooting other people, because you mostly get your super like maybe 2 times in a match. People rather just shoot from far away with like the hammer, or if you're a warlock and stuff. But it was still solid, and I spent a lot of hours still on the Crucible playing and just having all around fun. They have the quick match, and they have the more competitive playlist, but both playlists are still really team oriented, and you find yourself trying to work together a little bit more than in the original, where you could go gung-ho like in there by yourself, lone wolf, and try and demolish a team. Like, I find myself, working a little bit more with my team, using weapons that also help my team a little bit more, like Vigilant Wing and stuff like that, that can boost my teammates as well. And the maps were pretty great. They were kind of a little bit narrow, I felt like, or a little bit smaller, but they didn't feel cluttered, which was really, really great. And you don't want them too big because it's just 4-on-4, so you don't want a huge map, even if they are a little bit small. But still pretty great. Trials of the Nine is like a great addition to Crucible as well. Just having that super competitive mode in there is pretty awesome. Trials of the Nine opens up every weekend, and it's mostly 2 different game modes, and one is objective based, and it's more like Counter-Strike-ish, and the other one is more like Battlefield survival-ish mode, and it's just pretty awesome. Like, it's really fun. You still have to stack those 7 wins to get to the top, and it just adds a level of competitiveness to the Crucible. If you feel like during the week when you're playing regular Crucible, it's just a little looser and more fun. And on the weekend, when you jump into Trials of Nine with your team, like, you're here to compete now. Like, it's time to get serious, and that's a lot of fun, and it just adds a little something to the overall gameplay of Destiny 2. Also, you get a lot of good powerful engrams and some great tokens from Trials of the Nine that you can redeem for some powerful loot, some good gear, So that was pretty awesome addition. Again, the graphics in this game are stunning like we expected, and the gameplay is pretty much just as good, if not a lot of the same, from Destiny 1. So it's still a solid game. A lot of people complain about certain things from Destiny 1. I know streamers were having issues with Destiny 2. I know they were also having problems on YouTube with the whole parental control. There's like stuff going on with that. But again, this is still a super popular game. Unfortunately, although it's really popular, for some reason I still had trouble sometimes. Like, public events, I would go into a public event and there'd be like 5 people there trying to do this public event. And then there are times where I go into a public event and there's no one there, and I'll just keep loading public events and there's like no one around. And so at off-peak times, it's definitely, you'll find it super dead. But it's still a solid game. The storyline was good, and the game modes were super fun. Grinding definitely seems a lot easier in Destiny 2 than Destiny 1, and Destiny 2 is definitely focused on cooperative play and not on solo play. If you're playing this by yourself, like, you're really not going to unlock its full potential. Again, the party limits for certain activities were a little dumb, but the game is a solid game, and Bungie definitely did a really good job with this one. I think there are a lot of things that could make it better, but I still do feel like it's a good game. Like, I would definitely give this game like an 8 out of 10 around there, because I enjoyed it and I still put a lot of hours into it. There's still a lot of stuff to do. Like, the new expansion is about to come out like any second now. They just added some stuff for it, and it's just a really fun, solid game. So Destiny 2 for me is definitely worth picking up because it is in contention for Game of the Year. So I would definitely pick up Destiny 2. So thanks for watching, guys. This has been a review of Destiny 2 with Level 1, and make sure you check out the site because we always have a lot of cool stuff to upload there. And yeah, thanks for watching.